You work hard, you invest smart, and you watch your money start to grow. It feels great, but there's always someone else watching too. And that's the tax man. He always wants a piece of the action. So the real question is, how do you make sure you keep as much of your hard-earned returns as you possibly, legally, can?
It's a question every single investor has to ask themselves. Because look, if you don't have a plan, taxes can be the single biggest drag on your journey to creating wealth. They just silently eat away at your gains, year after year.
And to really get what's at stake here, just look at this number. Some of your investment income could be taxed as high as 30%. That's the same as the highest income tax slab for your salary. That is a huge chunk of your profit just gone. But here's the good news. Just understanding the rules can totally change that outcome.
To win any game, you've got to know the rules, right? And when it comes to your money, believe me, this is a game you really want to win. So let's take a quick look at who actually sets these rules and the timeline they work on. So it's not just one single entity. It's actually a whole coordinated system. You can think of it like this. The CBDT, they write the tax policy playbook. The income tax department, they're the on-field referee, collecting the taxes. And then you have regulators like SEBI and AMFI who make sure the markets and the funds are all playing by the rules. It's a formal system, and just knowing the players helps you get around the field.
And here it is. This might be the most important calendar you need to remember as an investor. The financial year in India runs from April 1st to March 31st. All your gains, all your losses, all your taxes, everything is calculated inside this 12-month window.
Okay, next up, let's figure out how your investment income is actually categorized. See, your investments can make money in a few different ways, and you guessed it, the tax department treats every single one differently. We're going to start with the two simplest ones, interest and dividends, before we get to the real biggie for investors, capital gains. First, let's get the straightforward stuff out of the way. Any interest you earn from, say, a bank fixed deposit, and any dividends you get from stocks or mutual funds, well, it's simple. They just get added to your total annual income. Then, they're taxed at whatever your personal income tax slab rate is. Easy to understand, but it can get pretty expensive if you're in one of the higher tax brackets. And now, for the main event, capital gains. This, my friends, is where the real tax planning happens. A capital gain is just the profit you make when you sell an asset, like a stock, a mutual fund, or property, for more than you paid for it. And how this profit gets taxed is where things get really, really interesting. The single most important concept in all of capital gains is the holding period. How long did you own it? The tax system basically splits your gains into two big buckets, short-term and long-term. And to put it simply, the government rewards patient investors, people who hold on to their assets for longer. Quick trades, they almost always get taxed more heavily. Okay, now what's so cool about this slide is how clearly it lays out the game. Just look at equity. If you hold for a year or less, you pay a flat 15%. But hold for more than a year and you pay only 10%. And that's only on gains over 1 lakh rupees. For debt, the difference is even bigger. Hold for less than 3 years and you're paying at your slab rate, which could be 30%. Hold it longer and that rate drops to 20%, and it comes with a very special power-up. And this right here is that power-up. It's called indexation. Just think of it as a government-approved cheat code to account for inflation. It basically bumps up your purchase price based on the official inflation numbers. So what does that do? It lowers your on-paper profit, and because of that, it lowers your actual tax bill. It is a huge, huge benefit for long-term investors in things like debt funds.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's see how these rules actually play out in the real world. We'll run a little experiment. Let's call it the Priya test, just to see what a massive difference tax-efficient investing can make.
So here's our investor, Priya. She's in the highest tax bracket, earning enough to be taxed at 30%. She's got 1 lakh rupees to invest, and she plans to leave it there for 3 years. I mean, that's a pretty common scenario, right? Priya is looking at 3 really popular options. Option 1, the classic super safe bank FD. Option 2, a more tax-friendly debt mutual fund. And option 3, a growth-oriented equity mutual fund. Let's just assume some reasonable returns for each and see what happens after the taxman takes his cut.
And here it is, the big reveal. And honestly, the results are pretty staggering. The bank FD, after she pays 30% tax on the interest every single year, leaves her with about 1,14,000. The debt fund, thanks to those long-term capital gains rules and indexation, does way better at over 1,21,000. But look at the equity fund. With its higher growth and that super efficient long-term tax rate, it leaves her with over 1,36,000. Her choice of investment and its tax treatment made a massive difference to her final take-home amount.
So what does Priya's story really show us? It shows that investing isn't just about picking winners. It's about playing the game smartly. So let's boil all of this down into a few core principles you can use to build your own tax-smart strategy.
Here you go. This is your cheat sheet for tax-efficient investing. First, you've got to know the rules for different assets. Second, always try to think long-term. Third, use that incredible power of indexation for your debt investments. Fourth, plan your strategy based on your tax slab and your time horizon. And finally, and I can't stress this enough, please keep good records. It will save you a world of headaches when it's time to file.
At the end of the day, it all just comes down to this one powerful idea. A 12% return that you actually get to keep is so much better than a 15% return that gets hammered by taxes. The goal isn't just to grow your money. It's to keep that growth in your pocket, not the taxman's.
So, we've walked through the rules, the players, the strategies. You've seen the powerful impact that a tax-aware approach can have. The only question left is, now that you know the rules of the game, how are you going to play? How much of your money will you get to keep?